Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So a great outcome, guys, yesterday from the telephonic conference that they were having SEC versus Ripple. I'm going to get to some of the talking points. As you guys may or may not know, I was indeed on the call. So, I went out for lunch with my wife yesterday, but I was like, yeah, but we've got the Ripple call. So she's like, well, why don't you just play it on the patio? And hopefully we won't annoy anybody. Luckily, nobody was there. So we had it on for a while we were ordering our nachos and tacos. Then people finally came on the patio, so we had to turn the volume down. Nevertheless, we stayed for the entire thing. I want to talk about the market first because there's a lot going on right now with regards to the broader market. First of all, you guys can see during the telephonic conference yesterday, I've got Ripple XRP up here. I'll put it on the hourly. You guys can see over that time leading up to the conference, for whatever reason, there was a spike in XRP price. It did go from about $1.13 all the way up to about $1.24. So an 11-cent increase within the couple of hours leading up to the telephonic conference, and we saw it rebound right back down. Right now, XRP is trading at about $1.20. So interesting to see this pattern on the hourly forming higher lows. Next stop, obviously, higher highs. We got to get above $1.30, ultimately above $1.35 though. And if I throw this on the daily, that major price break has to happen at about $1.96. But the trend's still formulating what is looking like a bullish pennant. So moving to the upside, obviously, that is where we're going. I saw this from the Rock XRP, though, guys. Fasten your investment seatbelts. It's about to get really bumpy. Now, he posted this. It is from CNBC. Market's record price action is mimicking late 1999, and it could spark a 10 to 20% correction. This is coming from long-term bull Julian Emmanuel. Now, here's what he's saying. A dicey situation reminiscent of the dot-com bubble may be unfolding on Wall Street. According to BTIG's Julian Emmanuel, the market's record price action is mimicking late 1999. As I just mentioned, be very much aware of the fact that if and when it reverses, the consequences could be severe, the firm's chief equity and derivatives strategist told CNBC's Trading Nation on Monday. On Monday, the S&P 500 saw its 53rd record close of the year, and tech-heavy NASDAQ saw its 32nd. Meanwhile, the Dow is a fraction of 1% away from its record high. So all these stock indices, record highs, we're in a time where the impossible has really become commonplace, said Emmanuel. If we had said inflation would be at 30-year highs and 10-year Treasury note yields would be at 1.3%, while the S&P would be at this level a year ago, no one would have believed you, me, or anyone else. Emmanuel points out the record price momentum is so strong, it's overshadowing serious near-term risks associated with surging beer flu cases, higher inflation, and what's next for Fed policy. The temptation may be to continue to go with it, he said. This is a time to retain emotional control. We got to remember a lot of people are trading stocks, day trading, really kind of getting into the game. Over the last year or so, a lot of people were not working, and so some people were thinking to themselves, well, maybe I can just make money in the stock market. Again, this was the time lockdowns occurred, stock market crashed, and then since March 2020, we've seen nothing but upward momentum for many stock indices. This is the S&P. If I bring up the NASDAQ here, you guys can see NASDAQ, same kind of thing, right? Huge crash down here, followed by a surge up. And we'll look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average too real quickly, just to give you guys a sense of everything that's marching to the upside. Now, this is dangerous because this printed money, no job creation, closed economies, it all speaks volumes to why we should be very, very scared. Julian Emmanuel obviously stating the same opinion here. Now, with regards to the dot-com bubble, let's bring up the NASDAQ again real quick here. Dot-com bubble, let's throw it on the weekly so we can see that over here. Dot-com bubble was in and around, no, that wasn't it. It was in and around. For whatever reason, it's not coming up on TradingView. So I have the chart here, the NASDAQ, and you guys can see here the bubble burst early 2000. Of course, we saw a downtrend here for the NASDAQ. Didn't really rebound until the mid-2000s, and so from there on, big tech really just did take up, and, the market hasn't been the same since. Mid-2000s, demonstrated over here, and this is just the last leg up for that. So I like to take a look at these trends because the bigger picture is also something we really should be focusing on. The crypto market is not immune to what goes on in the rest of the in traditional finance, so we really should be paying attention to this, the S&P 500 specifically, because guys, you know what I noticed here? Let me throw the S&P 500 here on the weekly. And let me just take it from this last crash, okay, back in 2008, 2009. The last crash, right, the mortgage crisis in the late 2000s. And if I throw Fibonacci on here, look at where we are reaching, guys, on that Fibonacci retracement for the S&P 500, right up here to the 4.236. Another sign that if you're in stocks, you might want to reconsider. Not financial advice, but it is something you should be paying attention to. Let's get to the lawsuit. I mean, this was an historic day. Crypto Law here, John Deaton, says he will have a video out regarding the settlement soon. Jeremy Hogan also has a video out. SEC will consider settlement when they have too much to lose. The judge needs to rule in Ripple's favor regarding the privilege issue. The judge also hasn't ruled on SEC's motion to strike Ripple's fair notice defense. So he's retweeting out cryptoincel.de down here saying, so in fact, a settlement would do far less damage to the SEC than the disclosure of the documents, right? How likely do you think it is now that the SEC will try to get away with a slap on the wrist to avoid further damages? The SEC now has gotten into this so far, and it is not looking good for them. So just some of the points here, guys. Yesterday's hearing was a key development in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, although Judge Sarah Netburn will only make her final ruling on the privilege issue after September 28th. The conference room was maxed out. XRP hodlers were on the line, myself included. The highlight of the hearing was the judge's exchange with the SEC counsel, George Tenreiro, as to the objectiveness or subjectiveness of recklessness. And I believe his name is actually pronounced Jorge, if I'm not mistaken. He introduced himself on the line there. Mr. Tenreiro, is recklessness a subjective or objective standard? Now, this was a big point of contention here, of course. Subjective means your own opinion. Objective means, it would be contrived more or less as fact just based on, the relevant information. The direct question was met with much evasiveness. It's always a bad sign when asked a black and white question. This coming from Jeremy Hogan. Asked a black and white question by the judge. You have to start with judge. Let me just first start by saying, so that was Jeremy Hogan's comment on that. But eventually, even the SEC did have to admit that it did an objective standard. And why is that so critical? Because if the standard was an objective standard, what did Brad Garlinghouse know about whether XRP was a security when he sold it? If that's all that's relevant, the SEC's internal deliberations are 100% completely irrelevant. So this also just kind of made a U-turn for their case. XRP Army to the rescue. Statements and videos regarding the SEC and officials' views from 2017 to 2020 on digital assets, Ethereum, and XRP show that the agency was far from a consensus on what constitutes a security or not in the new asset class. Then this article references some videos here that have been dug up by the XRP community. The judge seemed to be aware of such recordings. What if all the SEC commissioners were out having lunch and talking about how they were all confused about XRP and other digital assets status as a security or not? That would be relevant. For Mr. Hogan, that was the highlight of the hearing. Well, I'll say it. I swear Judge Netburn is following some of the XRP people on Twitter or maybe even YouTube. So, in previous videos, I've discussed this idea that Ripple's lawyers are likely scouring Twitter and YouTube and, finding all these gems. Well, the judge, I never even thought of it that way. She is likely also, possibly following some YouTubers and possibly following some people on Twitter. I mean, we cannot know that for sure, but there's a lot of information floating around on Twitter and on YouTube, a lot of great discoveries in the space. And so, it's great that we have such a robust community. I gotta say, the XRP community, second to none in crypto. If the underlying law was unclear at the time, even to the SEC, then the alleged violation could not have been so obvious that the defendant must have been aware of it, Ripple counsel Matt Solomon stated, citing the Novak versus Kazakh's case. According to Jeremy Hogan, the judge agrees those documents are relevant enough to overcome the SEC's privilege argument, so that's a good sign for Ripple's side. That is why she has ordered an in-camera review. So, I was asking this, what is an in-camera review? All that means is basically that the judge has the opportunity to read those documents privately in her office without other eyes seeing those documents. So this means the SEC will be providing lightly redacted copies of the privileged documents to Ripple and complete and unredacted copies of all documents to the judge, so she can make a final ruling as to the privilege issue. So that is going to be a big part of this case, guys. And it's great. Today is a good day. Now, XRP, the Standard Productions, this is a parody account, but Brad Garlinghouse has followed them, and they tweeted out yesterday, "Hey, Brad Garlinghouse, was today a good day?" And under Brad Garlinghouse's likes, he did indeed. He was one of the 121 people to like this tweet here. Brad Garlinghouse did also tweet out yesterday, just tweeting this out. "This has been clear from the start. The SEC's lawsuit isn't just about Ripple, it's about what? Impossible standards of fair notice and due process through regulation by enforcement can do to crypto innovation. Anyone could be next without warning." And so he's retweeting out that article, that Forbes article by Rosalind Layton, the crypto uprising, that one that I discussed, where she kind of outlines what was going on in the case, kind of taking a very pro-Ripple side on the matter. So I'll link that video I did yesterday, guys. I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner if you didn't catch it. Brad Garlinghouse continuing down here saying, "At least one learning I'll take from this experience: never bet against the tenacity and thoroughness of Twitter sleuths." So talking about the XRP community specifically, a lot of us on Twitter, uncovering certain information, getting it out there, spreading that information, making sure that everybody sees it, making sure that it becomes commonplace in the XRP community and beyond. Of course, I think this is even unprecedented. The fact that I don't think there's ever been a case where there has been this much collaboration from a community who is looking to seek justice. So kudos to the XRP community. Yet again, we are getting more inclinations that this is indeed having a positive effect on Ripple's case. And so to that point here, Jeff at ISO XRP on Twitter posted this, a clip with Steve Buchholz, Assistant Regional Director at the SEC. He gives his thoughts on the importance of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. And, in a lot of ways, he doesn't sound too confident. He's trying to put on a brave face, but just listen to this.
The enforcement side of it, Steve, one of the high-profile matters, Forbes called it the cryptocurrency trial of the century, SEC versus Ripple. And I realize you're limited a little bit what you can talk about on ongoing litigation, but why do you think this case is important?
Yeah, well, I can certainly acknowledge the filing of the action. It's been well publicized. I can't comment about anything related to the ongoing litigation in the case. It was filed in December of 2020, also in the Southern District of New York, and it alleges registration violations by Ripple Labs, as well as two of its executives who were significant holders of the XRP token. It alleges that they raised over $1.3 billion since 2013 through an unregistered ongoing digital asset securities offering in violation of the registration provisions of the Securities Act. It's a very, very detailed and extensive complaint. I won't get into the details of it, but it's obviously a well-known digital asset. It's traded on a lot of platforms. Has a large market cap. It's gotten a lot of attention. Our allegations are really founded in a very similar Howey analysis. We've gone back to that as the investment contract definition repeatedly. The litigated outcomes we've received so far have confirmed that approach. So we will see. Obviously, we're hopeful that we'll get another positive outcome in litigation.
Does that sound like a confident man to you? I mean, this guy, I feel like he's putting on a brave face. I mean, he's just kind of been put on the spot here. Obviously, he cannot talk too much about this. But, he's just saying what is fact, what is subjective, as they would say. It is this. We're using the Howey test. We have been successful with the Howey test in the past. We're hopeful that this is going to be, we're going to come out of this as winners. Nevertheless, his facial expressions, I think, and his tone and his demeanor really do speak volumes to the fact that he knows the SEC's goose has been cooked. Maybe that's just my opinion on it. I mean, everybody who watches this clip, I'm sure, would have their own opinion on that. Put your opinion down in the comments if you guys have an opinion on Mr. Steve Buchholz's demeanor, his delivery. I think the SEC's goose is cooked. And you know what that is going to mean, guys, for the price of XRP? Oh boy, get ready for something spectacular. You think the price has seen significant appreciation thus far. You just wait. It is stepping up right now and just poised for a bullish pop, especially once we get that positive verdict from the lawsuit. I'm not the only one who thinks that. FutFit here on Twitter posting this. Are people using it? Yes. A lot more than people realize. This coming from Raoul here on Twitter. He's in an interview with BitBoy Crypto. Listen to this real quick.
What's interesting about XRP is there is quite a lot of use cases. Now, I know a bunch of Bitcoin people hate it. It's not decentralized enough. I don't care. It's, are people using it? Yes, a lot more than most people realize. And what's amazing about this setup is you can't buy us on any of the exchanges. And it's not in the Bitwise ETF. The Bitwise ETF is now $1 billion. The Bitwise index is, the top 10 index is $1 billion. So the moment XRP is freed, they have to buy a few $100 million of it, as everybody else can, because the exchanges will have it back. So you're setting up for a hell of a nice run if this clears up.
You're setting up a heck of a nice run when this clears up. So don't take it from me. I mean, take it from Raoul. All signs are pointing to the moon. I'm really glad we had such a positive outcome from the courts yesterday. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.